Gary had moved to LA in 1988. The Hollywood Brat Pack was in its ascendancy and he'd been convinced he was destined to play a leading role. Pooling his savings, he had taken a flight west, crashing on the floor of a friend who had managed to secure a small role on 21 Jump Street. For Gary, acting jobs proved harder to find. A bit part as a pool cleaner on Simon & Simon had given him hope, but after being rejected both for Beverly Hills 90210 and the show's less well-regarded spin-off Melrose Place, Gary had become despondent, drowning himself in a river of booze. The following decade passed in a blur. To pay for it all, Gary found work as a gardener, hired by an Italian-American called Tony, a man who supplemented his income by selling hydroponic marijuana cultivated in a lockup in Echo Park. Tony got busted in the fall of '98, suspicions aroused thanks to his use of a lighting system so powerful that half of his street existed in a semi-permanent brownout. Nevertheless, the months of hard labor had left Gary in great shape, and when a friend let slip that he'd been working in porn, Gary, by now past the point of caring, took a drive into the heart of the San Fernando Valley for an audition at a low-rent production house named Vital Pictures. Despite the stellar efforts of a girl named Darlene, who manhandled him with all the dexterity of a professional potter, Gary was unable to perform, and slinking off set, he kissed goodbye to what he considered to be his last opportunity of making a living on screen. Driving home that day, Gary had a revelation. That he had been reduced to such a state of self-degradation and still hadn't got the part made him realize he had to turn his life around. And by the time he met Ferdinand some 5 years later, he had recalibrated his existence to such an extent that he was unrecognizable from the limp-dicked individual left red-faced in Reseda.